Okay, so I'm going to do my first video. This is the first time I've ever done a tutorial, so be gentle with me. Okay, so this is the X Factor that I've got here, and I'm going to put on this little strip of binding that's at the bottom here. So I just wanted to show you guys how I do it with my serger and then with my sewing machine. So if you come over here, I've got everything all lined up. So I'm just going to serge it on. And once it gets started, then I'll start stretching it out a little bit. And just make sure it stays lined up. And you see that I'm cutting off a little bit so that I maintain the 3/8 seam allowance. And I go pretty slow because I like to make sure, because I've got a lot of layers here. I have the lining and the power mesh and then the actual swim fabric. So I really want to make sure I get them all in there. And then it's kind of tricky when you get to the end because you have to kind of hold on. Okay. So once I finish, okay. So now I've got my binding on there and it's all stretched. So now my next step is we're going to wrap the binding around and then top stitch. So super easy, just leave your seam allowance toward the binding and then just wrap it around. And then you can either choose to use a double needle or a cover stitch. I'm just using my regular sewing machine with the lightning stitch. You can either stitch right along here, or if you stitch in the ditch, then you can make sure on the back side that you're covering up all your stitching. So sometimes I do it either way, whichever way I'm feeling like I want it to look. So let me switch over here to the sewing machine. Okay, so I'm over here on the sewing machine, and now you can see what stitch I'm using. I'm using the lightning stitch, and I put it on the longest length because I find that works best with my machine. So I'm gonna come down here. So I've got it tightly wrapped. I don't even use pins or clips or anything. I just use my fingers. So I use my fingers to make sure it's all tight around there. And then I'm going to get it started. Okay, and then once it gets started, then I just use my fingers, and this is probably going to be hard to catch, but I use my fingers to just make sure that it's snug and tight. And I hold it in place, and I keep sewing. And then I pause. And then I do it some more. I know this is hard to catch.
Yeah, it is hard to catch. One like equals one prayer for me.
So hopefully, my 11-year-old is my videographer. Videographer? I'm not sure.
I have my own YouTube channel.
Oh my goodness, you're not going to promote your YouTube channel?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Now once it's finished.
Sewing stuff is boring. I need to add a laugh to it.
Hey, stop. Okay. And now you can see, let me get it over here in the light. Now you can see how my binding is attached. Okay, so on the back we have this little extra fabric back here. So what I would do is just trim really close to the edge and cut that fabric off. And then as you can see, I have a little bit of my stitching showing because I didn't stitch in the ditch on this side, but it really doesn't bother me at all, so I'm not terribly concerned with it. So there you have it. That's how you do the binding. And you can do this on any of the patterns, not just this X Factor. Okay, thank you.
Bye, guys.